Huntington. It's Friday night. All right, friends. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. And good Shabbos. That works. I can tell you're part of the Saturday morning crew. You know the responses. It is a beautiful Friday evening here. It was a little drizzly a while back, but this is the kind of weather I like. It's like I say, it's overcast, but it's not sunny and it's not cloudy, so it's in the middle. Well, it is Friday night, and it is the Friday before Purim. Right? Purim starts tomorrow evening, and we're going to be freilich. We are going to be having a good time tomorrow. But so let's start welcoming Shabbat, and we'll have Lydia and Melanie come up. We kidnapped Lydia from New York City. They want them back in a hurry, but
Against my will.
pardon?
It was against my
Against
will.
your of course, against their will.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. You want the light? Yeah.
Push and pull. College success depends on it.
Push forward. And then pull back. Okay, let's try it. You want me to do it? Okay. All right. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, l'haydlik ner shel Shabbat.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about for a while, and I think we're going to change things up a little bit tonight. Normally, we jump right into Lecha Dodi, and sometimes the tune is a little jumpy, sometimes it's a little quiet, but we just kind of... It's talking to me and it's upset with me, but I don't care. We just kind of jump into things. Kabbalat Shabbat is meant to ease us into Shabbat. Right? Before there was Kabbalat Shabbat, we just started the evening service, and the rabbis said, to go from running 100 miles an hour the first 6 days of the week and then right into Shabbat, you need to ease your way in. And so I like Lecha Dodi, but there are a bunch of psalms that we could do as well. But I want to introduce us to a new song. It's not a new song, it's an old song. And you'll find it on page 332. And it's a traditional Friday night song. And it's got what I think is a very, very beautiful melody. I mean, it's got many melodies. There's only a few things in our tradition that have one way of doing them. But this is Yedid Nefesh. And Yedid Nefesh, a Yedid is a delight. Dodi is a word for uncle, but you could also, Dodi gives us, I guess, like a sweetheart. In the book of, Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs, Dodi li, ani l'dodi v'dodi li, right? I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine. So this is Yedid Nefesh. This is the beloved of my heart, or my heart's delight. And tonight we'll just do the first verse. I'll go through it once. If you know it, please join me. And if not, we'll go through it again a second time. And then, next week, if everybody seemed to have found this kind of relaxing, We'll start on the second verse. All right, but this is one of my favorite Friday night songs or my favorite Shabbat songs, but I've missed it. So it's page 332. Yedid nefesh av harachaman mishoch avdecha el ritzonecha yarutz avdecha kemo ayal yishtachavel el mul hadarecha Yerav lo yedidu techa minofet suf vechol ta'am. That's the I apologize. They changed the endings on a couple of the words. Apparently, nothing is sacred in this world. But the tune is that very slow. Yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 die, and that comes at the end. So there's a little yada dies, and because that's a niggun, a wordless tune. So this does have words, but then it goes into the wordless tune. So sound familiar? Not familiar? Not to oh, you can. Pardon?
I said I know a different tune.
Not even close to my tune. It's my tune. I like it. Right, so it's a nice slow tune. So let's try it, and then at the end we'll do the Yedidais, and then we'll go to Lachadodi. Yedid nefesh av harachaman mishoch avdecha el ritzonecha yarutz avdecha Kemo ahayal yishtachavel mul hadarecha yerav lo yedidu techa minofet suf vechol ta'am yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die die die. All right, we'll try it again next week. All right, let's go to page 20 and Lachadodi. And in the spirit of Purim, and I'm feeling my Hasidic neshama this week. I don't know why, but let's try it with that lovely little Hasidic tune that I like. Let me see if I can get it in my head now. I got Yedid Nefesh in my head. Lechadodi likrat kalai yelalai 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabelah Lechadodi likrat kalai yelalai 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabelah Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Ishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad ushmaho echad L'shemul tiferet v'litila Lechadodi likrat kalai yelalai 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabelah Lechadodi likrat kalai yelalai 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabelah Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha Ki mekor haberacha Merosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshvat tchila Lechadodi likrat kalai yelalai 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech im melucha. Kumitzei mitochapecha. Rav lakshevet v'emecha becha. Vehu yachamol alai chemla. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitnari me afar kumi. Livshi bigdei tifartechami. Al yad ben Yishai beit lachmi. Korva el nafshi nafshi geala. Liachadudi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari kiva ha'orei kumi uri. Uri shirda beri. Kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lo tevoshi velo tikol mi. Ma tishtochi u'ma tehemi. Bahach yekesu aliyei ami. V'nivneta ir al tila. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. V'hayu l'shimsa hashosayich. V'rachaku kol mevalayich. Yasis alayich Elohayich. Kimsos chatan atan kalkala. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Yaminu smo tifrotzi. V'et Adonai taritzi. Al yahadi ben partzi. V'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala. Gam b'simcha u'sola. Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai yalalai yalalai. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. All right, let's turn to page 22 for some verses from Psalm 92, the psalm designated for Shabbat. And let's read the outdented paragraph together. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With the 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together, you have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzadik katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yiskeh, shetulim bebeit Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu. Oh, Yenuvun b'seiva, Deshenim v'ra'ananim yihiyu lehagi, Ki ashar Adonai tzuri v'lo havlata bo. Page 24, let's welcome the angels who come to spend Shabbat with us. Shalom Aleichem is how we greet them. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharim, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seifchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Well, the Shabbat bride is with us, and it is now Shabbat. So let's turn to page 146. We'll begin the evening service, or Avi Le'el Shabbat, evening service for Shabbat evening, page 146. Please rise for Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Borach Li'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Let's read together on page 147 the 3 paragraphs in English. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish. But your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Umavdil ben yom uben laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch li'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. Top of page 148. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shalteinu v'kumeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו ויורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 151, let's read responsively. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet the oneness eludes us or grasps the perfection of the evil abound.
Before our eyes, there's a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There's evil enough to break the heart, and there's good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
We grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learn God's presence redeems time and death, and we celebrate His power and freedom.
Top of 152. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, dohora tehilot, osei feheleh, malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokeam lifnei Moshe, zeili anu v'amruhu, Adonai yimloch Leolam Vaed, B'nehemar Kifad Adonai Yaakov, U'ga'alom Yad Chazak Mimenu, Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 153, the second blessing after Shema, Hashkivenu, and let's sing the first two lines together. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu LaShalom V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. 153 at the bottom, let's read together. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Amo Yisrael, Li'al Yerushalayim. You turn the page at the top, we'll find verses from the book of Exodus, from the book of Shemot. Vishamru, it's not Shabbat if you don't have Vishamru. And it's a reminder of what Shabbat means to us as a people. It is a sign and between us and God. Page 154 at the top. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם בריתו עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם. We're on page 155. Please rise for the Amidah. We'll chant 155, 156, and 157 together, and then we'll go silently. And during that silent time, you can finish the Amidah either in Hebrew, in English, or by offering up your own meditative prayer. Well, let's begin together. 155 at the top. Adonai sefatai tiftach uviagi tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach uviagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, and my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. El Hagadol, Hagibor, Anora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Mekonei Hakol, Bezocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Goel Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor L'Olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Atarav L'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei Metim B'Rachamim Rabim, Sohomech Noflim V'Rofech Oholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Givurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Mimihi, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua. v'ne'eman ata l'chayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hametim. Let's continue together. Middle of page 160. Let's read that paragraph together in English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. A little bit of Hoda'ah on page 163. Hoda'ah is Thanksgiving, but we also, in order to be thankful, we have to have what's called Hakarat HaTov. We have to recognize the good. And that's another way of saying grateful. In Hebrew, it's recognizing the good. And there's always something to be grateful for, no matter how your life is going. And it doesn't always have to be a big ticket item. Everybody thinks, let's be grateful that this, and this. How about grateful that you could tie your shoes this morning? Or how about grateful that you remembered how to get from your home to the synagogue or what? It doesn't have to be a big ticket item. This weekend is a big ticket item for me. My brother on the 24th, I guess that's Sunday, Monday, I don't know. Sunday, turns 52. He turns 52, and all that means is that I can no longer say that I'm 52 because I'm his older brother. But it's his birthday, and I wish him only blessings and good things, the year of blessings, and may he always be surrounded by light, laughter, and most of all, love. And that is my gratitude for the week. And so 163, let's read responsibly at the top. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world in our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, our common beauty, for the love of tomorrow, all praise is received.
And just to be honest with my brother, I wanted a pony, and I got him. I still want the pony. Page 164, we'll close out with Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Liolam V'tov benecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael Bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam. Praise you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch ata Adonai, hamevorech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. Let's jump ahead to 253, one of many prayers of healing in our tradition. This one is called Mishaberach, page 253 in the middle. Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor Habracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We jump ahead to 258 and 259, prayers for our community. And Mr. President, how about the prayer for our congregation?
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion and prayer in support of the needy. May we guide with integrity. May our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction. And may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levatcha b'yira na'avod. David, how about the prayer for our country?
O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing them with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the cure of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and may our country be sound in body and spirit.
Amen. Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu Ovaich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shabashmaim, Tzur Yisrael v'Golo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Smichat Gulatenu, Again Aleha B'Evrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha V'Amitecha, L'Rasheha Sareha V'Yoetzeha. V'Taknim Eitza Tova Nilfanecha, V'Natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'Simchat Olam Liyoshbeha, V'Nomar, Amen. Dr. Mark, how about the prayer for Israel in English?
O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread it over the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there.
Amen. Thank you all who read. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
This week, we begin a brand new book of the Torah. Woohoo! It's got that brand new book smell, right? You crack it open, and it's like, ooh, I haven't read this in a while. It's the book of Vayikra, Sefer Vayikra, and it's also known as Torah HaKohanim, the law or the Torah of the Kohanim, because it's basically a handbook for the priestly class. It's different from the two books that precede it, and it's very different from the two books that follow it. There's no real narrative. There's no real story in the book of Leviticus. It's a lot of sacrifices, a lot of offerings. A couple of things of interest do happen, but there's not a real narrative. And we get descriptions of the korbanot, the sacrifices. And the word korban, which does mean sacrifice, but the reason it does mean sacrifice is the root kuf resh bet, or kuf resh bet, for those of you who are studying Hebrew with me, that means to draw close, to draw near. And so we are mikarev, we draw close to God when we take the sacrifices to the priest to have them offered up. This is traditionally, believe it or not, even though it is probably the most boring book in the Bible, we're trying to think of something more boring, maybe Divrei Hayamim at the end of the Bible, but at least for the Torah, this is the most boring book. And it's traditionally the first book that's taught to children. They don't teach them Genesis or Exodus. They don't teach them Numbers or Deuteronomy. They start them with Vayikra. They start them with Leviticus because it is straightforward and there's not a lot of room for creative questions, right? So imagine if you had a room of 4 and 5-year-olds and you said, in the beginning, when God began to create the heavens and the earth, they're not going to say, oh, wow, oh, that's cool. I like that. They're going to say, well, who created God? And did God create the earth because God was lonely? And so if God was lonely, why did God just create another God instead of creating humans? Because, I would create another God. If I were God, I would create another God, but I wouldn't be lonely, right? Bunch of 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, bunch of 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds, you start off with that, and that's what they're going to ask. So the book of Leviticus doesn't have room for those creative questions, but it does contain a lot of important things. And one of the things that it contains is the holiness code. And it's about how we should behave. And I know I said it's about a book for the Kohanim, and largely it is, but the holiness code is for all of us. God says, you shall be holy because I, the Lord your God, am holy. And the word holy in Hebrew comes from the root kuf dalet shin. But it doesn't mean holy in the Christian sense or holy in the religious sense that we're so used to. Lots of people, Jews and non-Jews alike, when they come for a tour of the synagogue and I show them the Torah, they're afraid to touch it. Like, oh, it's holy, you can't touch it. No, holy in Judaism does not mean you can't touch something. Holy means that it is set aside for a specific purpose. All right. So when God says you are to be holy, God has set us aside. And we have a specific purpose in this world, right? We have a specific purpose to live lives of holiness, to show other people what it's like to live with a relationship with our God. And so it's interesting when you would set aside, when you would make, say, Hoyt lived in Tzfat, the holy city of Tzfat, up north in the Galil. It's a beautiful place. But he's a farmer up there, and he has this prize bull that he wants to take to Jerusalem for Sukkot and offer it up as a sacrifice. And so what Hoyt would do is he would lay his hand on the head of the bull and he would declare it hekdesh, holy, set aside. And now he can't use that bull for anything else. Right, that bull gets to go over and wait until it's Sukkot, where it goes and winds up in the temple. But say Hoyt's a realist. Hoyt's a smart guy. Well, we'll say that Melanie and Lydia say to Hoyt, listen, it's at least a 2-3 day walk, maybe 4 days the way you walk from Tzfat to Jerusalem. And if you're going to take that bull with you, it's going to get nicked up along the way, right? It's going to cut its foot. It's going to wind up getting marked. There's going to be a blemish on it, and you're going to take it all the way down there, and you're not going to be able to sacrifice it. And Hoyt would say, wow, you two are very brilliant. You are the most brilliant people I've ever met. How do I get up in the morning and put my shoes on without you? No, I'm joking. So Hoyt says, you know what? You're right. So he takes the cow, the bull, and sells it, and takes the money and declares the money hekdesh. Right? So now all he has to do is get that money down to Jerusalem and spend it on the holiday. But he can't spend that money for anything else. He can't be walking along and pass, ye olde record shop and see a first edition of God speaking the opening words to Genesis. No. That money can only be used in Jerusalem during the festival. And that's why it's called Hekdesh. That's why it's set aside. That's why it's holy. It serves a purpose. It's different from all the other money Hoyt has. And we are different from all the other people in the world. We are set aside. God has plans for us. So this week, 5 korbanot are described. 5 ways of drawing close to God in the tabernacle and then ultimately in the temple. We have the Olah, probably the most famous offering, even though you don't recognize the Hebrew name. That's the burnt offering. That's the one that gets burnt up. It could be a sheep, a goat, a bull, but it has to be without blemish. It could be a turtle dove or a pigeon if you can't afford a bull, a goat, or a sheep. And what makes this so very interesting is as it's being slaughtered, you have to keep your hand on its head. The sacrifices weren't, you took Bossy to get sacrificed, you slapped her, she walked up, and you went and chatted with your friends while the priest sacrificed her. Now, you had to be there. You had to take part in it, and that's another discussion. We had the mincha offering. That's the meal offering. That's where we get the afternoon service from. Our finest flour. It's a grain offering, and we would take it and we would throw it onto the altar. A handful of what we brought, and then Aharon and his sons would get the rest. We have the Zevach Shlamim, the offering of well-being. Things are going well, and so you want to celebrate a little bit. And again, it was a herd animal without blemish. It was a goat, a sheep, a cow. The entrails and all the fat were burned on the altar, right? And then so the meat would be, you would get some of the meat, and then the priests and their families would get some of the meat. You had the chatat, the sin offering, and this is an unintentional sin, right? You forgot that it was, what could you forget that you wouldn't get you? You forgot to fast on Ta'anit Esther or something. And you just forgot. It wasn't intentional. It was unintentional. So you took another animal and you put your hands on its head and watched it be sacrificed. And then the last offering that's described is the asham, the guilt offering, right? We know asham from the high holidays. Asham, nu bagad, nu gazal, nu divar, nu dofi, right? And this is when, for something that you do intentionally, you touch an unclean person. You know you're not supposed to do that. You take an oath and you don't fulfill it. And you take a sheep, a turtle dove, or 2 pigeons, and an ephah, that's a measurement of choice flour. If you swear falsely, if you commit robbery or fraud, if you lie about finding something, right? So you're walking down the street and you find a coat, and yeah, it's a nice coat. I'll take it. And you take it, and then a day or two later, somebody comes by and says, "Hey, did you see? There was a coat on the road. Did you find it? It was mine." You said, "No, I didn't find any coat." And then you wear it to, like Shabbos or something, right? And for that, you have to repay whatever the worth was if you don't give it back, plus 1/5. And you have to sacrifice a ram as well. And so that's this week's Torah portion in a nutshell. There are 16 new mitzvot, 11 positive and 5 negative. And that's the Torah portion in a nutshell. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Zachor et asher asa lacha Amalek. B'derech b'tzeitechem mitzrayim. Remember what Amalek did to you on your way out from Egypt. This week is the second of 4 special Shabbatot leading up to Passover. We're a month away from Passover. Purim marks the 1-month countdown to Passover. And of course, in the story of Esther, we have the famous villain Haman. And again, in our tradition, we can't just have a villain. We have to have a lineage to that villain. And they trace his lineage back to Amalek. Amalek is one of the great villains in our tradition. And in this Shabbat, which is Shabbat Zachor, we are commanded to remember what Amalek did to us on our way out of Egypt. And he attacked the famished and the weary, and those who were straggling behind the larger group of Bnei Yisrael as they were moving away from Mitzrayim into the Midbar. He struck them down in a cowardly act. Perhaps Amalek is the first terrorist that we know in our tradition. He cut them down. And the rabbis and the commentators try to figure out why. I mean, because they were just there. And so this week we would read from the book of Deuteronomy about this act. But it doesn't jive with what came in the book of Exodus. In the book of Exodus, there is a fight between Bnei Yisrael and Amalek. And Moshe is sitting on the hill and he's watching, and God tells him to put his hands up. And so Joshua and Caleb, I believe, lift Moshe's hands up, and Bnei Yisrael starts to win the battle. But then either their arms get tired or Moshe's arms get tired, and he puts his arms back down. And then Amalek starts to win the battle. And so finally, they get Moshe's arms up enough that Bnei Yisrael, is ultimately successful over Amalek. And we're told there to blot out his name. Now, that was just a regular battle. That wasn't this one that we read in Deuteronomy, where he sneaked up and slaughtered those who were unprotected. And we don't know much about Amalek outside the biblical narrative. We do understand that he was the leader of a nomadic tribe, and that's about it. Except that we're to blot out his name. First, because of the battle, I'm not quite sure. As a nomadic tribe, maybe he was just an opportunist, and he saw some people and wanted to take advantage of them. The rabbis tell us, though, when we're told to Zachor et asher asa lacha Amalek, that as Jews we're always to be watchful, that there are enemies lurking everywhere. I mean, I guess we could read them that way. But it is a strange command in the Zachor portion that we will read. it says, Timcha, I'm sorry, Timcha et zecher Amalek mitachta hashemayim. Right? So God says, you will blot out the name of Amalek from underneath the heavens. Okay, right? So we want to blot out his name so we don't remember him and we don't worry about him or any of that. Okay, blot out his name. But then it says, Lo tishkeh. Don't forget. Blot out his name, which would mean to forget. And then don't forget, which means you haven't blotted out his name. It's a strange command to do for us to do. And we could spend all night here and we could twist our brains and, my brains would leak out of my ears and I get a nosebleed and stuff like that. Because we can't wipe out his name and we can't not forget in the same breath. But we can do both if we look at one of the commands is not necessarily about Amalek, right? Blot out Amalek's name. That is about Amalek. But the don't forget, that's to us. Because the reason Amalek was able to attack was because we left the slow movers behind. We moved ahead and said, oh, the stragglers will catch up. We're in too much of a hurry. And so what we're not to forget is that behavior that allowed those people to die. And so blot out Amalek's name. Yeah, he's a great enemy, right? Try to not allow him to, or his kind, to rise up again. But don't forget your behavior, Bnei Yisrael. You allowed Amalek to prey on your people. You were asleep at the wheel. You were in such a hurry, and you said, but the stragglers are holding me back. They're holding us back. We can't have them, right? So let's move ahead. And that's what happens. That's when people like Amalek, people like Haman, like the great villains of our tradition, that's when they get us. When we're too busy worried about ourselves as individuals and we don't care about the community. We don't care about those who might not be as observant or they're not as participatory or not as visible. We forget them and then they become easy prey, easy victims. So that's what we're not supposed to forget. It's not Amalek's behavior, but, because there are always Amalek-like people. Haman, Nebuchadnezzar, all the way up to Hitler. That Hitler is a direct descendant of Amalek. The rabbis do get creative, I must say that. But this is so important that the rabbis say that this is one of 6 biblical verses that we should ponder upon every day. What Amalek did and how we allowed it to happen by not paying attention. And so it's a wake-up call. We need to pay attention. Purim is tomorrow. Once again, the story of a group that tried to destroy us. They lost. We'll eat, but that's the old joke. But the idea is that we only survived because people came together and included everyone. And so if we believe that it's all about us as individuals or us as a small clique or us just a small group, then that the Amaleks will always be there and they will always be successful. But if we change, if we look at who and what we are, and then we say, whoa, we wouldn't want to be left behind. We don't want, the cool kids running off without us. We're all in this together. And so we should behave that way. There's always an Amalek waiting, but if we just care, then they never are successful. Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos.
There's no Maury here. What time is it?
Kiddush.
It's Kiddush time. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, Kiddush for Friday night. It usually just opens right up to the page for me. There it is. Vayi erev vayi boker yom hashishi. Vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzvam. Vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa. Vayishbot b'yom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa. Vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto. Kivo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Savri, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon, in chilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikrei kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim, ki vanu v'charta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. I love Cat and grape juice. All right, let's start closing out on page 282. Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gdula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu Umishpachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu notei shamayim v'yoser haaretz, Umoshev yikaro b'shamayim imal, Ushchinatu zo, Begovei meromim, Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Lokeinu efesu lato, Takatu b'torato, v'yadata hayom v'hashevota, elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim imal, v'al haaretz, mitachat einod. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed v'nehemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Yihyeh Adonai echad Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo Echad. You may be seated. This week, we continue observing Shloshim for high weed. And this week, we observed the following yard sites. Etta Steinberg, Jack's wife, Paul Jacobson's mother. Fanny Fish, Barnett's wife, related to Jack, and Joe Fish and Pauline Kaplan. Leonard Keene, husband of Betty Ann, father of Michael and Mark. Sarah File, relative of Manny Berinsky. Louise Poland, wife of Lake III, mother of Rebecca and Lake C. Poland. Edna Brown Baker, David Baker's mother. Molly Frischman, Janice Chertow's grandmother. Samuel Herman Kazan, Martin Kazan's father. Charles Lundy, husband of Judy, grandfather of Nathan Daniel Jurin. Leona Cohen, Nelson Cohen's mother. Edith Krupman, Ed Gellen's sister. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us all, and may they all rest in peace. Mourner's Cottage, page 294. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah. Balma, Divrach, Hirute, Viamlik, Malchute. V'chayechon, V'yomechon, Uvchaye, Dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agala, Bizman, Kariv, V'imru, Amen. Yehei, Shmei, Rabbah, V'varach, L'olam, L'mei Amaya. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal. Shmei, V'kucha, B'richu. Le'ela, Min Kol, Birchata, B'shirata. Tushbachata, B'nechamata. Da'amiram, Ba'alma, V'yimru, Amen. Yehei, Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom mimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. You be seated. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good
Shabbat
Shabbos.
shalom, good Shabbat.
Mr. President, do you have some words for us?
Maybe.
Come on. Have you got good words for us?
I do.
Have you got safe for workplace words for us?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
that works. That works for me.
So I did want to say that I do have that spoken LP.
You do.
I do. Actually, I have the 45 in my jukebox, and Melanie will attest to that. God reading Genesis. It's by Mel Brooks, though. Mel Brooks is doing it on 45.
Mel Brooks is reading Genesis.
Yes, yeah, actually,
He's tiny.
he is.
You're taller than he is.
He is. And, he's about 97 years old.
He's no man.
So he's at the door. Okay. Shabbat shalom, folks. So tomorrow we've got services at 10 a.m. I will be here, so you get to see me. And,
Yeah.
wonderful.
I'm happy.
And the rabbi. That's pretty
Well,
cool.
I'm just happy to
And
hear
then Saturday evening, and I'm really looking forward to this. We are going to have a Purim celebration, and it's going to rock. We're going to have readings. Dress up. I'm going to dress. I'm not telling you what I'm dressing as, because that's going to be a surprise.
that. Okay.
It's going to be a surprise for everybody except for those two there. I already told them. Well, I told Melanie.
I don't know.
But you can't come dressed as either one of those because they're already taken.
What? That's true. That's true. But yeah, they do help me put on my shoes in the morning. And then, so Saturday at 7, be here. Please have fun. We're going to have some hamantash, and I hear they're pretty good.
Are they?
Even though I don't eat them because they're filled with stuff I don't eat, namely fruit. Sunday we have again we're going to have services at 9, and then we have study with the rabbi at 1 and 2, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And then we come around to the week, and we've got the Yiddish choir at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Some announcements from this week. Thank you to everybody who showed up for the United Against Hate presentation forum. That was Tuesday. It went very well. And I do want to say to everybody here and all our folks out there in internet land that we have a lot of support for our community here with Huntington. It's a wonderful community. So I just want to relay that. We have the raffle coming up on April 14th. It's going to be wonderful. If you haven't bought a ticket, do so. If you have tickets, please sell them. I know I'm trying to sell mine. And then we've got the Jewish Cultural Festival on May 19th, and we are working on that, and I'm very excited about that. The mayor personally asked me about it this week, and he's excited too, and he told me he's going to make sure we have good security there. Okay? Thank you.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And Sisterhood is providing the Hamantashen for tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes. And we are very excited about that. If you're going to come, please come in costume. I mean, you don't have to, but we ask that you do bring with you a box of uncooked macaroni. Because people might bring cooked macaroni, and we're going to use those as the groggers, the ways that we blot out Haman's name. You can bring your own grogger, but macaroni makes a loud enough sound. And not only that, but not only do we get to blot out Haman's name, we don't get to hear Haman's name, we'll donate those boxes of pasta to a local food bank or homeless shelter after Purim. And so you're getting like double mitzvah. So please come. That's tomorrow. I am happy to announce that we will have a second night Passover Seder right here in the synagogue. Details will be coming out after Purim. I try not to think about Passover until Purim is over. But want to let you all know that, yes, in fact, 100%, we will be having a Seder here on second night. And so if you'd like to help out with it, just let me know. Shoot me an email or come by my office because lots of work to do. And, last year I had a great committee. I'm going to try and get the band back together and see what we can do this year. But last year was very, very successful. And I don't see why this year won't be successful as well. So that's the big news that Hoyt didn't know about, but that's okay. Now he knows. Now he knows. All right, friends. So that's about it for us tonight. Let's close out with Don Olam. Page 321. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'chepso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Mikra V'acharei Kiklo Takol Levado Imloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hoveh Vehu Yeh B'tifara Vehu Echad V'ein Sheni Laham Shilo Lahachbira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra Vehu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzur Chevli B'yitzara Vehu Nisi Umanosli Menad Kosi Biomekra Yahado Afkid Ruchi V'eti Shan V'yahira V'im Ruchi Giviati Adonai Li V'lo Hira. I got my voice tonight, friends. I don't know what's going on. But we do have people from the Intertubes saying hello to us. And tomorrow morning, we'll have a special, pre-Purim teaching. So you'll learn a lot tomorrow. So please join us. There's Mom. Oh, Mom and Cliff. Shabbat Shalom to all from Rabbi's Mom and Cliff. Thanks, Mom and Cliff. Oh, my nephew is acting in his high school play this weekend. So I want to wish Nathaniel, God's gift, however did his parents name him that. I wish Nathaniel luck in the play and the entire cast. So, Bahatzlacha, TJHAKM, Shabbat Shabbos all, Donna Wilson, Shabbat Shalom to all who are there and to those who are watching. Thank you, Donna and Bella Robinson. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Bella. All right, friends, lots going on, lots to get involved with here. So come on down. You might even win a prize. I don't know. I could be Bob Barker. So I just want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom, a good Shabbos, an early Chag Purim Sameach, a happy Purim, and please be careful out there. Good Shabbos.